What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here, and I'm super excited to have the opportunity to interview the player that won first with Rorowa in Mexico, Gustavo.
Hi.
Do you want to say hi a little bit and maybe a little plug-in for your community if you want to?
Hi, everybody. I'm Gustavo. I still don't know, but I won with Rorowa in Mexico, so awesome.
Awesome. And so what's really unique about your deck is that I think most people just did not expect it to top, let alone actually win the whole event too. So I'm excited to dive a little bit deeper with the player that actually piloted too. And typically what I start off with is to get to know a little bit about the player too. So what communities are you from? And do you have a locals that you go to often?
Well, to be honest, I really don't go to a shop challenge and nothing like that. Mainly because I have to work, so
Right.
the times are never
The perfect time.
yeah. And weekends I just wanna relax. So I play sometimes with some friends, but that's all in my community. I mean, I have some friends that support me, so awesome. They are gonna help me train. They told me, you're gonna hit Vanguard after this because we're gonna train you so much. But yeah, I love them, but I really don't participate a lot in the community.
I mean, that's so big. Like just having friends that are willing to like help you like that. That's really cool. And sometimes it speeds up the process to ramp you up as well too.
Yeah, because it's gonna be with BT13, so good meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I guess that leads me to my next question is that, how did you prepare for the event and why did you end up picking Rorowa of all decks?
Well, first of all, like I told you, I'm not a big of a player. I'm not a big of a meta fan. For my preparations, I just played with some friends that I introduced to Vanguard. One of them used Overlord and Chronojet. Mm-hmm. The other used Magnolia and Big Heroes. And I was just playing Rorowa with them so I could feel the deck because I only have two other decks that are Kyrie and Lizard.
Okay. Yep.
Lizard is actually not a good deck, but I love him. And Kyrie, we need more support.
Yeah.
In BT13, so in Lyrical Monastery 4. So Rorowa was my best bet.
Yeah.
It was a very focused rush deck, so I really needed that for the event because if something Galist and Gandiva are a bit, how can I say, weak to rush.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose Rorowa in the end because I thought it was the best choice against Willistas and Gandivas.
Yeah, for the decks that you have, and you enjoy the deck too. I got you.
I love it.
No, that's really cool. I think a lot of players feel pressured sometimes to pick like a metagame type of deck. And so sometimes they may not have that deck and have to pay more money to get it or something too. But it's good to see other players like yourself just playing the deck that you have, and also it's one of your favorites too, and do so well as well.
Yeah, I only build decks that I love, so
I think that's respectable for real. Because you play the game to enjoy the game still, right?
Yeah.
If you're not enjoying the game, then what's the point?
Yes.
So I understand. So let's dive into your deck list.
Well, like you see, I have all the standards in SP because they were very cheap at the moment. So I got with the right line normally, and then I think the best element in the deck are the mushrooms because they help me a lot with the early pressure. It was like, if I went second, normally sometimes I start with 2 mushrooms in hand. So it was 3 attacks in the first turn, 3 attacks on the second turn, and some decks really can't hold that much of pressure.
Right.
And the Gandivas and Willista lost a lot of hands in the early turns, so it was hard for them to recover after that.
Yeah. So you really committed to the early game as soon as you were able to attack.
Yeah. Every time I could attack.
Wow.
I got some lucky with some criticals and draws because they helped to put more pressure.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it was like 4 damage in my first attack.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And the other key element for the deck is Margaret. Margaret was big for 2 reasons. 1, the effect to give me an extra draw.
Yeah.
And 2, like you said in your video, the deck is very heavy on Persona.
Yes.
So Margaret helped me a lot because a lot of players leave their rewards in front to intercept or prepare for next turn attack. So Margaret disrupts that a lot.
Yes.
It was like, now I need or destroy and lose resources, or don't attack or move and do a less powerful attack.
Yeah.
The rest is the standard. Radilina, she brings Momoke, like the best card in the deck.
Yes, the little dragon. Yep.
I mean, I got very lucky and got a player. I did the triple Momoke over.
Yeah.
And the over. I decided to go with less favor instead of the red because I think the utility it gives, it was a lot better than the extra attack that it could give me the red trigger.
Yeah.
The crit, the draw, it was sometimes it's always 2 draws, the heal, the front. It always gave like a lot of pluses.
Yes, I agree.
4 of the resolute pair of eyes. I mean, not explanation needed. It's like, I lost my mouse. Here it is. And the most important part, the Reassured crits.
I've seen players really liking these crits.
yeah. The deck love the crits, or love those crits. And this is the only card that I didn't like in the deck.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I never get to use the revival skill.
Huh.
I mostly use it for right coast or I mean just to get an extra token in the battle phase, but that was all. I never revived with Matias.
Gotcha. Is it because you're so early game focused that it just doesn't come up as often?
No.
Probably.
No, it was because Margaret was better choice to call. I always had a Radilina or 2 Radilinas.
Oh, that's a good point. It takes a column at that point.
Yeah, Matias, it was like, okay, I have Margaret or have Matias. Who gives me more advantage right now? And it was called Margaret. So Matias really never... I think I only use in all tournament the effect once to revive Sun Mushrooms. And that was all. So yeah, it's like a very standard build.
Gotcha. Did your opponents know how to deal with it at all? Or they were surprised?
I think they were surprised. And well, what helps a lot is how we Vanguard players play the game. Yeah. Because in the mulligan, everybody returns the triggers to the deck.
Yeah.
So first, the hand normally has no triggers for defense, and that's when they or take the damage or throw away valuable resources for future plays. So that's something that helps a lot because players are not used to play rush and play against rush, I think. So when you face something that you're not familiar with, you don't know how to respond. Most players are used to play like versus auto deck plays like Gandiva, so you know how to respond from turn 3 onward, but not before that. I think that's something I saw with Daniel in your interview, and it was a good point he made, that you need to be prepared for the early game because you always have in mind the turn 3, turn 4, like my persona, my stride in other format, but you don't know what's going to happen before that. And that's, I think, where Rorowa shines because it's just like, okay, it's turn 2 and you're in 5 damage.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be harder for you to defend against my turn 3 attacks.
Yeah, significantly harder. Yeah.
And I mean...
go ahead.
Yeah, and the new Rorowa puts a lot of pressure in them because now they are 4 or 5 damage. And just to the threat of 2 damage extra, it's like, nope. And mostly they waste good resources defending him, like a lot of resources.
Yes, yeah, I was about to say that too because you have the other Rorowa form that gives you crit on top of that as well.
And the deck is good because, well, a part of that, you have this Rorowa. If you have your field full of tokens, when you have 25k extra shield, so and you don't use a lot of your hand to replenish your resources.
That's a good point because all of them are tokens.
Yeah, so then all your hand goes to defense normally, never to offense. So yeah, I think that's why the deck shines a lot.
Yeah, I could see that too. Like just thinking in that respect, not many players not know what to expect beforehand. That turn 3, right? Is usually when somebody writes the grade 3, it's like, all right, this is where the game starts. But in reality, it starts in the early game still, technically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, at least for Rorowa, the game starts in the first turn he can attack.
Exactly.
And again, if you go second and you have this, well, can start hitting 15k.
Yeah.
And if you go first, and again, if you have this, your tokens are hitting 15k when you're grade 3. So your opponent Vanguard is 10. So at least that's 10k shield.
Yeah, and standard still doesn't have the best shield for most cards. Yeah, so I definitely understand that. Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
But yeah, that's how I play the game. Just rush, and more rush.
More rush. It worked out, obviously. So, no, that's really cool. Thank you for breaking it down. And that kind of leads me into, like, your matchups, too. Like, how do your Swiss rounds go? And then into top 8?
Okay, well, for Mexico, we have this say that you always play versus friends. I mean, it happens. There's a lot of people, and for some reason, you always play against someone you know.
Oh, wow.
So in my first round, I played against a friend that plays Phantom Blaster Overlord.
Yeah.
And it was an intense match because we went to use 3 of the order.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's like a 15 extra K for my tokens. That's a lot of that extra damage.
That's a lot. That's Katrina numbers in premium, basically.
Yeah. So we went that far, and he plays very good PBO because it's the only deck he plays. So he knows it's inside and out. Yeah. But the first turns again, it was what helped me build the damage. Mm-hmm. So he was on the defensive all the time. And at the end, well, he told me, well, I only gonna ask you one thing. Won. So I was like, okay, and I won. My next match was against a Gandiva, again a friend playing Gandiva.
Oh wow!
This friend was playing against my other friend in the first round. So
wow.
But he was playing a bit slow because he only removed like 6 cards in the game.
Okay.
Because again, Rorowa is so good versus Gandiva because you only leave tokens.
Yeah.
So it's like reveal 6. No 5, no 0. I remove 1 token. I remove 1 token. So he's wasting resources removing something that I call for free.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
He didn't right check well, so that was the end of my friend. Third round was an intense one. I think is one of the most intense games of my tournament. Was versus Bastion Accord.
Okay.
He was using the Bastion right line. So he went to ride the grade 2 and calls Alden.
Wow.
So when I'm grade 3, when I ride the original Rorowa, I'm at 5 damage. He's at 3. I'm a lot hand. I'm like, well, whatever, no? I call Radilina, call Momoke.
Yeah.
Attack my plant tokens. He defends with the dragon. Attack Rorowa. He say pass. And I happen to dry check Radilina and then over trigger. Yeah, so my Rorowa 2 crits, he goes to 5, and then 3 attacks from Momoke. He only had 2 perfects.
Yeah, that's game over. Yeah, that's the cool thing about the Rorowa deck is that if you do get the OT, like it can stack onto multiple units that way. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 attacks for Momoke, it's like insane.
Oh yeah.
Game 4 was versus Aniva. It was not an eventful. The only good thing was Margaret because I went first. He didn't get the 3 orders. Yeah, so I call Margaret, his Obscurate can intercept. I attack, I get with the original Rorowa, he couldn't guard it. It was 4 damage, 6 damage.
Wow.
Then again, I went versus a Gandiva. This player banished like 15 cards.
Yeah, that's a good
one. But again, he was wasting resources just to destroy my tokens.
Yeah.
And I wasn't using my token skill versus Gandiva, the Rorowa one, because Gandiva says when a unit is retired on your turn, you can banish. And Rorowa says retire a token unit to gain the extra 5 shield. So versus Gandiva, the defense was null from tokens.
So you can't use it, is what you're saying?
I mean, you can use it, but you're giving Gandiva more fuel.
Oh, okay. Because I thought tokens just disappear.
Yeah, no. The Rorowa effect says retire. And Gandiva says when a rigger is retired, so the Gandiva could keep vanishing.
Okay. Banish it from the cards. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. I gotcha. Okay.
My 6th game was versus Willista. It was a evenly matched game, but again, I was rushing so hard that normally 12 cards in hand were reduced to 2.
Yeah.
So he was not getting that advantage that Willista normally has.
Right. It needs time to pick it up. Yep.
Yeah. And last round was versus Gandiva. It was the second place. It was a very intense match because I attack in turn 2, I get crits and he gets 2 heals. So he goes down from 5 to 3. And then he just recovers. He got very lucky with the Gandiva skills, always retiring my tokens.
Yeah.
So indeed, well, I lost that, but I think it was a good loss because in quarters, it made me that I only faced 1 Gandiva because you saw top 3 was 3 Gandivas.
Yes.
And through Chronojets, and I played one of the Chronojets in my 5th match.
Yeah.
So the Chronojet was a good player, but Luke wasn't on his side, and he lost before he could strike.
Ouch. Yeah, that hurts.
Then I went versus Willista. it was the same Willista from round 6.
Okay.
So he was more, he knew how to deal better with me.
Yeah.
But again, the rush was still too much for him. In my last attack, in her last turn, he made a mistake because he leave a grade 2 in the field instead of bouncing it to hand with Juika. So I called Margaret. He couldn't intercept, and he was down 5k shields.
Oh my god, literally 5k shield.
Literally 5k shield. So that's how he lost. And again, the last round, well, let me tell you how that happened. He starts, then I go, and nothing too crazy. He goes to 2 damage on my first turn. Then on his second turn, he just gave me a crit trigger, so he couldn't pass me. Then I start hitting with tokens. He defends. Again, more familiar with how I play, how to deal with rush. But he raised grade 3, and then calls the grade 3 that is on the limited list. I forgot his name right now. And the grade 2 that when Gandiva attacks, counterblast Uno, bind, look 5, and call. So he attacks first with the grade 2. I got a draw, so I go to 2 damage. Then he attacks with Gandiva and applies the skill of the grade 2. The thing is, the grade 2 asked for me to be grade 3. He made all the things. He and I didn't know this, but the judge is like, wait. And it was a bit like, he checked the card. By this time, Gandiva is going to do the dry check. So nobody really noticed. Well, unfortunately, the player got a game loss, and that's how I won the last round. I was a bit sad because I wanted my revenge against him because he's the one
you lost to.
He's the one that I lost to. Okay. But in the end, when you're at that table, I think that having a judge looking at your gameplay in every play becomes a bit overwhelming for some people.
That's true.
I was just so happy to be in the finals. I was like, imagine if we put a Rorowa in the top 1 of Mexico. I mean, the Vanguard is gonna go crazy. Yeah, that was like my only focus. But yeah, that's a bit sad because I mean, he really is a good player. He's a friend of a friend. Yeah. So I was really feeling very sad for him. I really didn't like that win. But in the end, there was nothing I could do to keep the game going. I mean, for me, I would happily keep playing to get a real match, but it wasn't possible.
Yeah, it's the judge's call, which kind of sucks sometimes. I understand. Yeah, but I mean, like, that doesn't discount you like making it all the way to the finals with Rorowa. I mean, I can see the strategy that you had. It was pretty straightforward, but very effective.
Yeah. I mean, bad thing happens, boss.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also funny too, like with the Chronojet player, like your strategy was so early game focused that they didn't even get to stride. That's something, right?
And I want to say, I think something that helped me, I think more Vanguard players should do this, is that I was 100% focused on my play, on what I was doing. Yeah. But at the same time, I was like, my opponent doesn't know what my card does. Sure. So every time I play a card, it was an autoplay. It was like, Rorowa, skill, Soul Blast 1, call up to 3 plant tokens, Radilina, Counter Blast, call Momoke. If Vanguard Rorowa and Radilina in front, Momoke can attack from back. I was explaining every skill every time I bring a new unit in the field.
Wow.
In every game. So it became a bit, at the end it was like, wow, I did that all the tournament. But that helped me because I never made a misplay. I was playing all my effects correctly. So
that helps you as a byproduct of it. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Because most opponents were making a little bit of misplays because they were playing out of the deck. Yeah. So it was like, I do this, and I was like, okay, let me read first. And I was reading a lot of their cards. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that helped me a lot to never make a misplay. Yeah, definitely. It was like, okay, this card requires Sona, so I can play it. This card can play, this card no. So, yeah. And I think that everybody should think that their opponent doesn't know what their cards do because Vanguard players, and I think a lot of TCG players don't read the opponent cards.
Yeah, totally. I agree. For me, I do the effort of like saying like the unit's name. I'm activating, I don't know, Tidal Assault skill. And if they need me to slow down to explain a card's effect, then I do. But yeah, you should never play cards without letting your opponent know what you're doing. Because then I think that can cause confusion. I think that can cause situations where a judge can be involved too. and it's something that could be easily avoided too, with good communication. Yeah. Which kind of leads me into my next question too. Like after the tournament, did you learn something from it, or maybe reaffirm something with you as a player?
Well, at first I was like, well, Rorowa and me today are in a very weird connection, because when I needed to go first, I went first. When I need to go second, I went second. The dice always were in my favor. Like I was.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah. It was like, who starts? 3. Okay, I'm going second. Or like 8. Okay, maybe I go first and my opponent gets 5. So
yeah.
What I learned is that, well, my feeling is I still see my trophy and I still see my certificate and I still can't believe I won. I think it's gonna take a lot of time just to really feel like I won.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you won, it's like, I won. Wait, I won.
Yeah.
Because, and this is gonna be a bit weird for me, but this is the first time I top. I've been playing Vanguard since Extra Booster 02 Banquet of Divas.
It's
so
like before Limit Break days?
It's the first time that Revere appeared.
Oh my God. So you've been in the game around 10 years-ish, right?
11 years.
11 years too. Well,
Yeah,
I'm also a veteran too, from like 2014. Yeah, so I've been around for a while too.
No, I've been around since, I think it's 2011.
Sounds about right. Yeah. For Vanguard.
And I really never top. Mostly I got okay results. 4 wins, 3 losses, 3 wins. I never really won. I always play Bermuda Triangle decks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the duo was the best placement I got, was like 5-2.
Yeah, an X2 record. Yeah, that's pretty close to get into top 8 as well.
Yeah, that was I think my best. And then with Rorowa, it was like, but okay, this is important. Before I was like, okay, I was in the mentality of I'm gonna win, I wanna win. But in this was like, let's go, let's see what happens. Don't feel pressure. In the end, it's just a game. If you lost, it's just a game. The tournament was free, so
yeah, it's true.
so why you stress about it? I think I was a lot relaxed, that the deck responded to me so well in a sense that I don't know how to describe it. It's like the feeling of the anime.
Yeah.
I guess.
Things just fell in place for you.
Yeah. The deck just fell in place. We did everything we could. We did right. I learned that maybe sometimes you need to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And try new decks.
Yes.
I mean, I really love the color green. You can see it in my wall on the...
Me too.
Well, Rorowa was a fun deck to me because he's a green boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to play Rorowa. And the people told me, well, it's not normally a deck of yours, but yeah, sounds right for you to play Rorowa.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Then something cool about the deck is called Top Idol Rorowa.
Yeah. So that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's in part for this card.
Yes. The Bermuda Triangle ones. I understand now.
The order that is Rorowa in...
Oh, that card. Oh.
Yeah.
Now
It was my good. It was my good luck charm all the tournament.
Okay.
It was on in my deck box.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think playing a deck that you would normally not play, but you want to play,
yeah,
it's a good thing. Learn what it can do and cannot do.
Yeah.
For Rorowa, the 2 friends that I was teaching how to play the game,
yeah,
I was training with them.
Yeah.
And I changed a lot how I play between now and before.
Yeah.
It's an abysmal way the difference how I play.
Yeah.
I make new plays. I learn how to rush because a good friend of mine called Mario, he says playing rush, it sounds easy, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Because you need to learn when to rush, when not to rush.
Yes.
How to manage your resources so you don't get naked for an attack.
Yeah, basically. Yep.
But I think I play so much the deck that I wasn't thinking how to play rush. I was just thinking how I play Rorowa, how I make this play, how I make this.
Yeah.
And I think that's something...
muscle memory.
I think that's what I learned. It's like play with what the deck gives you and hope for the best.
That's awesome. And the first thing you said too is that you didn't feel the pressure too. And I think that's a big one that gets to people sometimes as well.
Yeah, because when I was on the tables for top, I was like this. And for me, it was like people told me, well, just relax, no? And I was like, well, I'm not stressed. I'm super happy. I'm ecstatic.
Emotions.
Yeah. stress and preoccupation were the last of them. I was more like, oh my God, this is the first time I thought, Rorowa, we made it, because I never referred to this as my win. It's our win because the deck and I made all the work.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds a bit childish maybe for someone, but in the end, the deck and it was a teamwork between the deck and me.
Yeah, there's some magic that happens sometimes in those moments too. When I played Davos and I won my BCS, you know how Nikki does the check top 7 to look for a Favas? It would always be at least the 7th card. It's like, you got me, bro. So I know those like magic moments. Yeah.
So, I mean, regarding your question, what I learned is trust your deck. Your deck most of the time is not how to play.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to know what to do, but your play is going to give you the pieces to do it. So trust it. Trust what you're playing, trust what you're tested, and trust that your deck is going to respond in the moment that you need to respond.
That's really good. I appreciate that too. I typically ask like, what advice would you give to players? But I think that's kind of like a mixed answer, right? Like you learn from it for yourself. Would you suggest that basically as advice, just trust your deck and play to the best to your ability?
Yeah, I think that would be the best. Trust your deck, trust your ability. Don't try to change the deck one night before just to accommodate a new strategy.
I've been there. Yeah.
I mean, you've been practicing. You know how this plays.
Yeah.
Go with it. Whatever happens is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
don't stress. Stress is your worst enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of good points pointing it out. So thank you, Gustavo. I appreciate that too. So just to wrap up the interview, do you have any shout outs that you want to do?
No, I think I'm good with that one. Again,
what about your friends or your community?
I love them. They know I love them. They know I love them. I don't know if they're gonna watch this, but if they do, I just wanna tell everybody that you are the best friends a Card Fight Vanguard player could ask for. I know you're gonna train me so hard after what day it is, December 8th. I know I'm gonna have drill Vanguard in my school like crazy, and they told me they're gonna drill me Vanguard like real crazy. But I still gonna love you guys. I hope I do well in the Worlds, so I can meet your expectations. And if not, well, I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Again, I'm not gonna feel pressure. I'm just gonna play a game that I love, and I think that's the best I can do right now. But
that's awesome.
Guys, everybody, you know who you are. Love you guys.
Awesome. That's awesome, and I'm excited for you to go to Worlds too and experience it for yourself too. Definitely make some memories and enjoy just playing.
Thank you.
Just be you, for sure. Awesome. Well, thanks for hopping on the channel for the interview. I appreciate you, Gustavo. And for the viewers, on to the next one, amigos. Bye.